President, we must not allow a mine shaft gap.
Sir, I have a plan.
This could have ended differently. As everyone knows, Stanley Kubrick's 1964 movie Dr. Strangelove ended with the title character, masterfully played by Peter Sellers, emerging from his wheelchair, almost like how Lazarus emerged from his coffin. Strangelove then proceeds to take a few steps and the screen cuts to a montage of atom bombs. However, in a cut extended ending, the film went on to show that Dr. Strangelove then fell flat on his face. General Turgidson then notices the Russian ambassador taking pictures of the big board and proceeds to tackle him. Turgidson then asks for permission for a strip search on the Russian ambassador for more cameras, only to have the ambassador throw a custard pie from the buffet table at him in a rage. Turgidson ducks and the pie hits President Muffley instead, which prompts a comical pie fight in a war room which simulates an actual battle. "Gentlemen," Turgidson cries out while holding the wounded president in his arms, "our beloved president has been infamously struck down by a pie in the prime of his life. Are we going to let that happen? Massive retaliation." Chaos then erupts in fast motion. Critic James Naramore has described the altercation in his book titled On Kubrick, quote, "Characters climb atop tables and swing from the overhead lights. Turgidson sits atop somebody's shoulders, stuffing pie in his mouth between throws, and the circular comfort table becomes a sort of boxing ring filled with white cream. Meanwhile, Strangelove, after struggling to get back in his wheelchair, sees the chaos, and unbeknownst to him, his sinister black-gloved hand pulls out a Luger from his jacket pocket and aims it at his temple. Strangelove then realizes this and wrestles with the gun, resulting it in going off into the air. This catches everyone's attention and the fight stops. After he calls everyone to order, they see that the president and the Russian ambassador are building sandcastles from the pie custard in childlike fashion, having lost their minds. "I think their minds must have snapped from the strain," Strangelove announces. Turgidson announced that from now on, the country belongs in the hands of people like Strangelove, and the scene ends with the men all giving him a cheer. Ironically, the film was being edited around the date of November 22nd, 1963, the day President Kennedy was assassinated. Ultimately, the scene where President Muffley is struck down with a pie and Turgidson announces, "Our president has been struck down in his prime," was considered too close to the situation and the ending was cut. In addition, Kubrick felt that the pie fight itself was not played in a serious fashion, as most of the actors were smiling and laughing. The pies, being another metaphor for the missiles that were being launched, were being deemed unusable and became a disaster of Homeric proportions. This sequence of the film was then thought to have been lost due to the legend that this piece of film was put in a bin for cut scenes, then misplaced and lost, according to editor Anthony Harvey. It actually wasn't lost. The footage of the pie ending was donated to the British Film Institute and now lies in their archives. It is only viewable with permission from the Kubrick estate. Some even state that this version of the film played in some of the cinemas. User NoEdix on the wiki of Lost Media Archives states, "I saw it at FT Gordon in GA. There was an external hard drive getting passed around the barrack that had a bunch of awesome movies, and Dr. Strangelove was recommended to me. So after looking around online, it seems that the scene was around 11 minutes. I don't remember it being that long, but I do remember a good 5 minutes at least of pies being thrown around, with the actors wearing smug grins and laughing." Peter Sellers was the only one who maintained his character through the most of it, using one arm to help lift the other so that he could throw pies too. After long enough, the entire war room is covered in cream pie filling, as is every single person present in the war room. I really thought that I had seen something common until reading this article. Now I wish I had kept the file. There's of course no proof of this, but it definitely still exists. Anthony Harvey recalls again that the studio was very worried about releasing it, quote, "They found it might be offensive or something, so Stanley took it out for the moment, and then the film opened and he just didn't feel like putting anything back, so that remained in the cutting room floor. But it was a brilliant piece of work. Who knows, I certainly thought it was. But I think when you get to a point in working on a film for almost a year, and this sort of sudden pressure comes in as a result of what happened to Kennedy, it's a sort of clear-cut situation. It was indeed a disaster of Homeric proportions. I am interested in seeing this pop up in the next 10 years or so. In my humble opinion, I think that this ending would have been more perfect than the iconic ending we already have. But either way, both are perfect, but I'd love to see this nonetheless.